All right, let's go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to I guess this is now our second episode of Exploring Artificial Intelligence with myself, Dregn Durant. All right, hope you all are ready. I know this is a bit of a topic that has the community up in arms and a bit split down the middle, but I am eager to explore it. I hope to do it in a way that is as ethical as we can be about it, despite the controversies. And AI, I do believe, is inevitability. So we are going to continue to bring awareness to it, explore it, and see what it is capable of, and see how it can be used in ways that are not going to infringe on some of the controversies that we know are out there. But it is an exciting topic coming from the technical space. It is something that, well, isn't new. It's been around. AI has been around for many years, and it's only very recently that it has started to creep into the world of the creatives. And with various tools getting a lot of attention, we are going to, again, jump right into it. So, hope you're all ready. We're going to jump in here real soon. Karen, good to see you. I'm early today. Hell, I'm early today. But let's get into it, right? This series is going to be 1 to 3 episodes a day, depending on what's available, what we're in the mood for, what the community's in the mood for. And yeah, if you're hopping on and you're checking us out live, obviously leave a comment and we'll see if your ideas make it onto the episode. And if you're watching after the fact, drop a comment. Let us know what you think about artificial intelligence. Let us know if you've played with the tools, if you have a suggestion for future upcoming episodes of what we can explore, and well, let us know your thoughts. I'm happy to hear them. I welcome the conversation, and I think the conversation needs to happen. So that's where we stand. But yeah, today we're going to be looking at using these AI tools to generate reference or concepts for scenery, landscape, locations, points of interest. I mean, whatever it might be. Yesterday, we had focused on character creation and had used an example. We're actually going to share a little bit about of what I had put together and what came of it. And before we jump into landscapes, let's take a quick look at that. So, with that said, let's get our helmet on here. Let's go ahead and drop down and get to, make sure my hotkeys are working here. New interface for the new year, or at least not new interface, but some tweaks had been made for the new year. So, all right. So again, the main tools that we will be leveraging today are going to be ChatGPT, which we're going to use as kind of a conversational tool or a text generation tool to help give us some ideas. If you're running into a little bit of writer's block or whatever it might be, if you're looking for ideas, say, well, a common trend for the channel is some Dungeons and Dragons. We're big fans of that. So, if you are doing some improv or if you need some ideas to start getting that ball rolling, or I guess in that case, your die rolling of ideas, ChatGPT is an interesting tool to explore to get some, I guess, feedback on fleshing out some ideas, or maybe even just getting some initial ideas to begin that creative process, right? I don't know how I feel about folks that are using these tools without adding their own kind of creative input or imagination. So we're obviously going to be trying to add some keywords and tweaking it so that we can get the type of responses that we actually desire and not just leveraging the tools to use the output as product, right? That's at least our goals. But yesterday, right, we had created a particular male sci-fi character who was an what was it? It was an ex-military covert pilot turned engineer, and well, tab isn't working. Here we go. But the character, Jack Carter, was created on our episode yesterday, and I went ahead and used ChatGPT after our episode to generate a bit of a little introduction of the character, and this is what we came up with.
My name's Jack Carter. I'm a solo engineer, traveling the galaxy and taking on jobs to fix and maintain spacecraft. I don't have much time for chit-chat, so let's get down to business. If you've got a problem with your ship, I'm the one to see. I've got the skills and the experience to get it back in working order in no time. Just don't expect me to stick around for long. I like to work alone and move on to the next job as soon as I'm done. I may not be the most outgoing guy, but I'm reliable and I get the job done right. So if you need some work done, don't hesitate to give me a call. My name's Jack Carter.
All right, let's go
I'm
ahead
a
and pause that. So a little interesting, right? We went ahead and used Azure text to speech. There is a little cognitive speech tool that Azure, Microsoft has released, and it's another kind of, I don't know if it's really AI powered or if it's just a big library of audio, but I do believe there's some AI or machine learned kind of speech patterns that they are leveraging. So yeah, as we obviously explore the idea more, the products that we are able to kind of put together are going to be a bit more fleshed out, right? But these are the types of kind of conversations and ideas that we're going to try to bring to the table in order to showcase what AI is capable of and what the near future might be looking like for many of us out there. And well, there's obviously going to be some questions as far as where, say, like the art generation is pulling these references from or how it's generating it. But from what I've seen and from what I've tested with, MidJourney does seem to be creating its kind of own outputs based on various pattern recognition, not so much making variations of existing work. I've tried real hard to replicate some artist styles or using without using direct references, right? Trying to create and be able to reverse image search to see if, hey, is there anything that's actually resembling what MidJourney is putting out there? And I've yet to come across any sort of direct representation, but as always, I do add a little disclaimer that if you are a creative out there and you feel that the AI has inappropriately leveraged your works, do let me know, leave a comment, or preferably send me a DM on Twitter or message me in the About on my YouTube page where you can find my email and we can talk about how we can handle this. But with that, let's jump into it. So again, we're going to be looking at ChatGPT to make some ideas about where to start with locations, points of interest. So what I like to, I guess, because we had run a D&D campaign on our channel, we did take a break during the holidays, and it looks like one of our members is going to be unavailable for this upcoming weekend. So unfortunately, it's going to look like it's going to get pushed out another week or two. We'll have to see what everyone's availability is. But where I like to approach this from is from the thinking that, okay, well, we need some concept, right? We need some reference. And ideally, the end product might go towards a creator who will flesh out the details for more, I guess, production type use, right? Or at least proper concept use. But in order to build out that initial kind of starting from scratch, when you're scouring the internet for references of what are we going to try, what kind of vibe are we looking for, right? I think these tools do have some potential in that regard. So that's kind of where I'm coming from when we start looking at generating the various prompts and what type of output we're going to be looking for. So if anyone is tuning in and you have some ideas on location types or maybe some keywords that you guys want to see explored, now's your time to drop it in the chat. But otherwise, we're going to try to focus still on a bit of a sci-fi vibe, right? As we have the kind of sci-fi exploration vibe going on our channel. And yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll start initially with the first unable to load history. So couple quick notes before we get into this. So I am getting a bit of, not even a bit, there's quite a bit of rain going on outside. And the last couple days, my internet has been acting up a little bit. I also noticed ChatGPT seems to be getting hammered at the moment. So I don't know if this is an issue of their data centers experiencing some problems or if it's just a lot of people are on it at the moment. So hopefully we don't run into any issues in that regard. But let's go ahead and try asking ChatGPT if they can give us some ideas to kick things off. So today we'll be looking for ideas for let's see here. We'll be looking for ideas to build. Actually, how do I want to phrase this? Give me, let's say, 3 ideas for locations or points of interest for a sci-fi, we'll say, tabletop RPG campaign. I think that will be a little bit more specific to give us the intent of what we're looking for here. Maybe there's some other ways that we could phrase this, but I think this is a way that will work for me, right? So, excuse me. We're going to look for some locations or points of interest that we can then turn to MidJourney a little later in the video in order to generate some visual references or concepts that we can then use to accompany what we're building for this location. So 3 ideas I think will be a good starting point. Let's see what it has to say. An error occurred. Damn. Hold on. Let me try refreshing it. Yeah, I believe they are hosting on AWS from at least what I've been able to tell. Amazon Web Services for those unfamiliar with that term. So if I refresh, it should reload the instance that we're in and give me 3 ideas for locations to be used in a tabletop RPG campaign. Well, gotta make sure to add that sci-fi in there. Let's try that. Let's see what it comes up with. All right. But hope you're all doing well. Again, this is our first episode of today. I believe we are going to be in the mood to do at least one more today. And in the evening, we will be jumping on to our Minecraft server with some of our space friends. So if you like Minecraft, come check that out. The video for that will be not uploaded. The reminder video would be posted for that right after we finish up here. All right, so we got 3 ideas. Let's see what it has to say here. So the first idea is a mega city on a distant planet where the players must navigate through the various districts and factions that control different parts of the city. There could be high-tech corporate zones, lawless slums, and everything in between. Kind of generic. It's kind of more focusing on the campaign more than the location in this prompt, it seems so, or the output. But let's see what the second one says. An abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Where players must survive against the dangers within while also trying to figure out what happened to the station's crew and how to escape. That actually sounds like a whole one-shot scenario right there. I don't know. That's actually a pretty good idea. Space station orbiting a black hole. Orbiting a black hole. That is a wild idea. I kind of like that. We might build on that. A colony on a distant moon where the players are part of the first wave of settlers trying to establish a permanent settlement. They must deal with the challenges of living in a harsh, unfamiliar environment while also dealing with any potential dangers that may lurk on the moon. Almost sounds like there could be some intrigue with this moon. But man, I'm really liking this abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. Yeah, what are you guys thinking here? If there's opinions as I'm reading them out, do give me some numbers or opinions. But otherwise, I think we're going to explore this black hole idea. That sounds fascinating. I wonder what kind of artwork will be generated through the tool later for a black hole. I feel like it might be a little confused, but that might be worth checking out to see if it's even capable. Number 2 gives me some Metroid type vibes. Yeah, I could see that. We all like a little space. We all like a little danger, right? What's up, Zabil? Going into a place you can't leave for whatever. Ooh, yeah. You would know all about going into places some people can't leave, right? Being at the heart of the multiverse and all. But yeah, let's see here. Describe the location for number 2 in more detail. So obviously, right, if that alone was enough to give you a little creative juice, a little jump start to start going off in a direction, obviously, you as the creative could, write some more lore behind it. Maybe you can expand on it, but our focus here is to see what these tools are even capable of and how coherent they can be and how, I guess, quote unquote creative they could be. So let's see how it would describe the location for this abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. It cracks me up that the AI adds a little bit of text that kind of tries to make it like human-like and interactive, right? Like, sure, I got you, buddy. All right. Interesting. Okay, it's fleshing it out. Okay, I think we might need to add a little bit of prompt to omit like player interaction with the location because it's definitely getting a little sidetracked with what our intentions are for today. It's given us quite a bit. All right, let's see what it has to say about all. Oh, it's not quite done yet. Okay, let's see what it has to say about this. All right, so the abandoned space station. Yeah, gosh, I cannot speak this morning. My mouth is apparently freaking out. All right, the abandoned space station orbiting a black hole is a massive labyrinthine structure with a dark and ominous atmosphere. The station was once a hub of scientific research and technological development, but something went terribly wrong, causing the crew to abandon it in a hurry. This is already turning out to be like a one shot. That's very fascinating. I wasn't expecting it to dive so deep into the RPG campaign aspect of what we had asked it to. As the players explore the station, they'll find evidence of the panic and chaos that ensued, such as overturned tables and abandoned equipment. Man, this is getting into some Dead Space stuff. They might come across malfunctioning robots and automated systems, or they might encounter strange and deadly creatures that have somehow found their way onto the station. The station is also home to a number of hazardous environments such as vacuum-sealed chambers, zero-gravity sections, and radiation-filled corridors. The players will need to use their wits and resources to navigate these challenges and uncover the secrets of the station. The station is located on the edge of a black hole, and its gravitational pull is strong enough to warp time and space. Oh man, there's some shenanigans going on already. This means that the players might experience strange and unsettling distortions as they move about the station, such as time dilation, spatial anomalies, and even glimpses into alternative reality. Oh my god, I love this. What do you guys think about this? Oh my gosh. Overall, the abandoned space station is a dangerous and mysterious place that will keep the players on edge of their seats and try to survive as they try to survive and uncover its secrets. Okay, very cool. Now, I am always very curious, like, does somebody recognize if this was plagiarized from somewhere? Because if it is, let us know. I want to know. We want to know how much of this is actually creating as original of a concept as it can versus how much of this is just kind of piecemealing ideas as someone may if they were trying to collect some information and kind of puzzle it all together. But so far, this is definitely coming out to be pretty fascinating. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so again, our purpose here is going to be to try. Okay, so actually, this prompt alone, I could probably take this and we can make kind of much like the Jack Carter character had kind of a first-person introduction. We could have this narrated that kind of introduces almost a one-shot with maybe we'll generate a couple images today to kind of explore the various vibes that are being described here. So let's see here. So we have the abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. So we want a description of the external kind of view of what we're looking at here. And then maybe even if we have time, we'll get into some of these internal themes that we have, these kind of points of interest. So these hallways and radiation-filled corridors and so on and so forth. But I think for now, we're going to try to focus on the external vibe of this story. So yeah, we're not going to be too interested with the type of creatures at the moment. Station located on the edge of the black hole. Okay, so let's give us a detailed explanation of the external view of the space station scene. Let's try that. So give us a detailed explanation of the external. Is view the right word I want to go for? Is there something a little more detailed we can give us? Actually, instead of give us, we'll say provide. Now I don't know about how ChatGPT, we haven't played with it. We've played with it a little bit offline, but we haven't played with it too extensively, right? I've kind of been saving it for these streams. But I do know from past kind of, what is it, text generator type tools, we talked about Dungeon AI and Novel AI in the past. Definitely the way you word the prompt affects the way the AI responds and the type of information it remembers to generate kind of a coherent, or at least its attempt at a coherent story. I've noticed that ChatGPT does a pretty good job with remembering the entirety of the conversation so far, but I also haven't gone to the point where we have like thousands of characters, right? But yeah, provide a detailed explanation of the external view of the space station scene. Should we add the inclusion of the black hole? I feel like it should include the black hole on its own, but let's see what it says. From the outside, the abandoned space station orbiting the black hole is a massive hulking structure that seems to almost blend in with the darkness of space. All right, hold on. I'm going to wait until it's done. I can't read this while it's scrolling on me. But definitely at a glance, I'm already noticing it's already fleshing out some extra details of the external scene. Okay. All right. Let's see. So from the outside, the abandoned space station orbiting the black hole is a massive hulking structure that seems to almost blend in with the darkness of space. It's a cylindrical shape with multiple levels and sections, and is dotted with portholes and windows that reveal a dim and flickering interior. Gosh, this reminds me of God, what was that? What was that novel? I had a buddy that talked about this novel. Was it called Death Marine? It was like a Star Wars stormtrooper. Maybe it was called Death Trooper. It might have been Death Trooper, but there was a gosh, it was like stormtroopers that were on some station, and like they all were killed. I don't recall the exact story that he had shared with me, but gives this kind of really dark and ominous vibe. But yeah, this is like horror flick 101 right here, right? All right, next one. The station is surrounded by various pieces of debris and wreckage, including broken satellite dishes, twisted metal beams, and the charred remains of small spacecraft. It's clear that something catastrophic occurred here, and the station, and that the station was abandoned in a hurry. The station is also surrounded by the swirling cosmic energies of the black hole, which can be seen as a swirling vortex of light and darkness. The gravitational pull of the black hole is so strong that it warps the fabric of space and time around it, causing strange and unsettling distortions in the surrounding area. Overall, the abandoned space station is a grim and foreboding sight, and it is clear that it holds many secrets and dangers within its walls. God, spooky. Okay, okay. I am a little curious how this is going to affect the AI generated art material, because it is not going to be able to take this entire kind of very descriptive paragraph, and we can have to work with some keywords. So we definitely, I have a feeling that unlike with the character creation for locations, in order to assign it to a very particular vibe where we've already set kind of the description, is going to be a little trickier. I imagine that generating imagery that you then later assign a, I guess, what's the word, lore for, would be a little easier. So kind of doing it in the reverse order for locations might be an easier way to approach this, but we're going to see what we can do. Okay, but so far I like this idea. Definitely spooky, but we definitely need to now condense it down to some more keywords, right? So how can we condense it down to keywords? Well, let's see what the chat has to do with it. Let's see what they have to say about it. So condense this description down. Oh gosh, keyboard, please. Or I guess that's me. Condense this description down to, gosh, what should we say? Maybe 10 keywords, or to roughly 10 keywords to condense this down to roughly 10 keywords to describe the scene. Gosh, I cannot type today either. Condense this down to roughly 10 keywords to describe the space station and black hole scene. Let's see here. Provide it in a sentence separated by comma. Let's try that. Let's see what it has to say here. Abandoned space station, black hole, orbited massive hulking structure, debris, swirling cosmic energy, secret dangers. Okay, I think we're gonna have to tweak this a little bit. So I'm thinking, right, if we use this as kind of a, I think, abandoned space station, orbiting black hole, hulking structure, debris, swirling cosmic energies, secrets, dangers. All right. What are we missing here? I feel like there's a couple things that we could probably tweak this and add. So, hulking structure, abandoned space station, black hole. Actually, maybe we'll just say abandoned space station orbiting black hole, hulking structure, maybe surrounded by debris. Surrounded by debris, swirling cosmic energies. All right, let's see what else. Okay, let's actually add the cylindrical. Abandoned cylindrical space station orbiting a black hole. Hulking structure surrounded by debris. Swirling cosmic energy. Maybe we'll also add wreckage. We'll say it's a hulking structure surrounded by debris and wreckage. Okay. This is going to be story related, so that's not something we need for visual reference. Surrounded by swirling cosmic energy. Surrounded by swirling cosmic energies. I don't know if the art generator is going to handle this well, but we'll try it. We'll see what happens. From black hole. See, I don't know how it also handles repetitive kind of keywords, but we'll see. Gravitational black hole. I think I want to add warped space-time. I feel like that might make the output a little unusual, but warped fabric of space-time, secret dangers. Maybe we'll try that. Causing strange and startling distortions. Maybe we'll also add the keyword distortions. Again, I feel like we're going to get a very abstract, kind of trippy image based on the description here. It's definitely going to be a bit of a stretch from at least my past experience using tools like, say, Wombo Dream, which we had used in our campaign just for visual vibes. But we'll see. MidJourney has its own, I think. I feel like MidJourney kind of has its own vibe from what I've played with, but the abandoned station, grim and foreboding sight. I wonder if this will be too much, but we'll try it. Grim and foreboding sight. Okay, that seems like a good starting point, fairly descriptive, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commas in there. So All right, let's try that. So we definitely got through the character, or not the character, the location, much quicker than we did with our character from last time. But let's swap over to Discord, which is where MidJourney is handled. Now, I have spent some time offline generating some more kind of tests and looking at references using myself or the Horizon Exploration campaign that we run as kind of reference and inspiration. So, no, we'll focus on what we're working on here. Maybe if we have time at the end, we can take a look at some other ideas and explore what I've played with. So, let me go ahead and swap things over to, let me actually make a new channel here for, I should have done this actually yesterday too, but make a separate channel specifically for the environment that we want to create. But let me go ahead and swap it over to Discord so you guys can see it. There we go. And then what was the hotkey to get this zoomed in? It was, I believe, there we go. Yeah, hopefully that'll be all right. Let me actually see, does it cut out? No, that seems okay. All right, so we'll create a new channel here called episode 2. Actually, we'll go like, oh, what the heck? Oh, that's right, it's a text channel, so we can't use, we'll just do 002. All right. So, oh, apparently I'm playing VTube Studio. Imagine that. All right, so the prompt, let's try pasting in that prompt and we'll let it rip. Let's see what it does. So, abandoned cylindrical space station, orbiting a black hole, hulking structure, surrounded by debris and wreckage, swirling cosmic energies from a black hole, warped fabric of space-time, distortions, secret dangers, grim and foreboding sight. All right. All right, we'll see. And now that we're getting to the part where there's some visual, why don't we get some audio to kind of accompany this? We'll go back to using some also AI generated music, as again, we're exploring all of them to see if they are viable, and if anyone again recognizes any beats, any tunes, any visuals, do let us know. I'm very interested to find out, as the internet is a very large place. So here we go. Let's see what we have for audio today. Some of them are going to probably be remembered from last time, but all right, it's already done. So far, at a glance, very interesting. So I don't think there's a good way for me to zoom in on these in Discord. I'd have to open it up in a browser, unfortunately. Let me actually turn the volume down a little bit on my headset here. All right, that should be okay for the stream, but if it is loud, do let me know. Okay, interesting. So definitely a bit of a cylindrical space station. I can kind of see it. Much larger than I was expecting. We definitely got some wreckage in the surrounding areas. I don't really get the vibe of a black hole though. Maybe the first one, but it's like inside. Although I guess the distortion. What do you guys vibe in here? How does this stuff look? Let's also, you know what, while we're looking at it, I'm not super sold on any of these, so let's try generating a new one using the same prompt. Re-rolling. And maybe we'll also add another one with a bit of abandoned cylindrical, with a bit of tweaks to the prompt here. So we'll say abandoned cylindrical space station orbiting a black hole, hulking structure surrounded by debris and wreckage. We'll maybe say, well, let's get rid of swirling cosmic energies. I think warped fabric of space-time, and we'll get rid of distortions, and we'll get rid of secret dangers. I think just grim and foreboding sight might be enough. Let's try that. But yeah, coming back here. So top left is 1, top right is 2, bottom left is 3, bottom right is 4. If you guys have any preferences, do drop the numbers. But at the moment, Out of these four, I think number 4 might be the most accurate. Although this is more of a, I guess this is more of a damaged space station, right? Because what the prompt had generated earlier was more of an abandoned space station that's a bit warped around. So, you know what? I don't think I'm going to generate any of these in a different format. Let's check out what else has been generated. Oh, wow, it's going quick today. What the heck? All right, this one. That's interesting. Ooh, that's like a completely, this is like a different view into a different world. Actually, they're both kind of doing that. They're all kind of doing that. Ooh, although this third one does have a bit of vibe here. And the kind of, is that a distortion? I'm not sure. We might have to blow it up and see how it looks. But overall, I do like the shapes of the space station. This one looks, again, these look more like stargates or what are they called? What was it called when it's like the warp, it's a location that a ship might go to help plot course to warp. Mass Effect had them. What else had them? I think, was it like a slingshot? I forget what they were called. All right, let's see what this other one is. Ooh, this first one might actually be pretty good. We can call that color in the background a black hole. I'm looking for a vibe of kind of this dark and mysterious, right? Is kind of what we're hoping for. This one at the bottom left looks more like a, not really sure what we're looking at the perspective. It almost looks like it's crashed into something. I don't quite care for how the center of some of these seems to have blended or generated a completely different environment altogether. But you know what, this first one, let's try creating some variations of that first one, see how it kind of tweaks it. Coming back to these previous ones though. Yeah, coming back to the previous one. Here, let's go back to the description and see, just kind of recheck what we're looking for here. Right? So, from the outside, the abandoned space station orbiting the black hole is a massive hulking structure, almost blend in with the darkness of space. So yeah, we definitely, I think, want a darker vibe. Cylindrical shape with multiple levels and sections. I think this one they got covered pretty well, even though it wasn't explicitly defined about the multiple levels and sections. I think the hulking structure kind of took care of that for us. Dotted with portholes and windows. Flickering interior. That's a visual descriptor that we can't really generate in a still image too well. Maybe an artist might be able to pull that off, but AI is going to be hit or miss, right? Station is surrounded by various pieces of debris and wreckage, which does seem to be covered. I don't like this track. And including broken satellite dishes, twisted metal beams. Yeah, definitely the wreckage vibe is, I think, being covered here pretty well. Clear that something catastrophic happened here. Okay, so yeah, definitely the wreckage portion of it is coming through pretty loud and clear. Station is also surrounded by swirling cosmic energies of a black hole. I'm still not quite getting the black hole vibe. Seen as a swirling vortex of light and darkness. Light and darkness. Okay. Yeah, definitely not getting the swirling. Maybe swirling vortex of light and darkness. Maybe we'll add that to our next prompt. The gravitational pull of black hole is so strong, warps fabric of space and time, causing strange and unsettling distortions. Yeah, we're not also getting the distortions very well, are we? So, I don't know, something about one of, maybe this third bottom left one here. Yeah, let's make some variations of that one while we're tweaking our next prompt. So I definitely feel that, which one is it? Definitely feel like this maybe has a bit of a closer vibe to what we're looking for. So let's try making some tweaks here to say, abandoned cylindrical space station orbiting a black hole, hulking structure surrounded by debris and wreckage. So yeah, these definitely are covering things pretty well. Black hole could be emphasized a little bit more. Warp fabric of space-time. We might change that. Oops, actually I forgot to swap back. And Discord is not showing now. There it goes. All right. So yeah, what did I say? We're gonna try to get swirling vortex of light and darkness. So let's see, what can we do about this prompt? Let's paste that before I remove it from my clipboard. Warp fabric of space-time. Maybe the warp fabric of space-time. No, we kind of want to leave that too, don't we? I definitely want to give it that vibe of something's going on with the fabric of the dimension here. So swirling vortex, warp fabric of space-time, actually shown with, maybe we'll add it into the same line here, shown with swirling vortex of light and darkness. Space station, maybe we'll also separate space station and black hole to see if it puts more emphasis on black hole. Let's see what that does. All right, the previous variations have completed. So for the first one, definitely, I don't know if I care for this kind of rounded nature of these right side options, but the top, I think that first one might have some potential. And kind of the bending of the horizon of space in the background, I think we could maybe, although the fourth one really captures the bending of light behind it. Now, if we try to upscale it, if it's going to retain it is a big question mark. But we definitely see, but I don't like how the station looks like it's been rounded though. The wreckage definitely comes across a little clearer in that first image, is what I'm thinking. Let's also check the other one. Let's see what this other one does. Ooh, this really has that kind of dark and foreboding look though, right? Now the question is, do we still get that? Ooh, we do have a little bit of distortion kind of in the background in the top right. The top right image might have some potential. Yeah, it might, wouldn't it? Definitely has a bit of a bending going on here. A bend, whatever the term is. The bottom left one, the bottom left of the bottom left one definitely appears to be, I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. It's definitely very dark. It almost looks like some kind of an object that was added that is unnecessary. The fourth one, not really sure what's going on in the center, so we're probably going to avoid that one, but I guess several of them kind of have that, don't they? Well, let's see if the last one has finished. Ooh. No, audio just cut out. All right, it should be coming back here soon. There we go. All right, and then for the new prompt that we had just created, right, where we had added the, where was it? Swirling vortex of light and darkness, and we separated the space station and the orbiting of a black hole. So the bottom, number 4, the bottom right, looks like it's crashed or something, so we're going to avoid that one. The first one, I don't know. The top right, number 2, definitely has like some kind of a dimension gate going on. Yeah, actually, you know what? There's like a little person that it's thrown in there, so we're definitely not going to stick to any of the right side. The bottom left definitely has a bit of like a distorted space thing going on in the center, which might be interesting. Definitely the space station itself is a bit more of a donut rather than a cylindrical kind of long shape. I'm curious about this number 3 here, this bottom left one. So let's go ahead and we'll make some variations of that one as well. Taking a look at how this lines up with the descriptions that we've been provided. What do we think? What do we think? You know what? If I let's create some variations of this number 4 one here. We're gonna see if it kind of fine tunes it a little bit. Man, it's actually coming through really quick today. Surprising. I have it in relax mode, which doesn't really prioritize our requests, but this one definitely looks very interesting. Yeah. Through the center, we see a little bit of that distortion going on. So, you know what? This fourth one might have potential. It almost looks like there's an object that's intersecting with the space station a little bit, but maybe we could kind of explain that off with some of the strange nature of what we're dealing with, or maybe it's a giant engine that, if it is orbiting a black hole, maybe it needed like a big engine to ensure that if the gravitational pull had changed, maybe it would need a big thruster to try to push itself out of the black hole, sucking it into into the nothingness. Yeah, you know what? This fourth one, the bottom right, I'm kind of liking that. It doesn't look like there's an aircraft carrier intersecting with it as much either, unlike some of these other options that we've had. So let's upscale that one. That'll be the first one that we upscale today. And then we had one more variation here, which, yeah, it looks like there was like an explosion or something had crashed into it. Or maybe it's maybe spinning out of control and it's starting to tear itself apart. I'm not really sure what the visual I'm looking at here is, but I do like the kind of purple and the purple blackness of space being kind of bent in the background. Question is, do we care about these? The first one, I do like this little line it has in the center. I feel like I've seen images of black holes that do something very similar. You know, speaking of black holes, let's actually take a look at some black holes. It's been a while since I've really paid too much attention to the appearance of a black hole, so maybe we'll do the traditional way of looking for references, and we'll do some searches online to see what kind of results we get. Let's switch back over here to this one. Yeah. All right, so if we come back here and do a search for black hole. Yeah, what kind of look are we getting here? Gosh, how would anything properly orbit a black hole? That's wild. That is some wild stuff. But yeah, see, when I thought about distortion, I'm thinking something more like this. Or maybe even like this. Plenty of examples of black holes. We could also try referencing one of these black holes, but I'm not sure how it would handle leveraging an image of a black hole and then also having the space station added into it, if it'll be able to do that on its own. All right, refreshing our memory of what black holes look like, or at least what we believe them to look like, based on NASA imagery and what else might be out there. I do like the idea of just light is being tethered into this gravity field. But yeah, distortion of light. This is kind of the effect that I was hoping to see a bit more of through the MidJourney side, but we didn't quite get that. What else? Any other cool imagery here that we can try to think about when we look at black holes? Gosh. Is this official or is this fan fiction of black holes? I don't even know. All right. All right. This is kind of dark and foreboding. This looks more like art though, rather than a space image. I almost want to click it to see is this an actual depiction or is it a fantasy? All right, let's go back and see what's going on with our output. So yeah, with the upscale, how does that look? I do like the space station, absolutely. Yeah, this kind of large donut looking space station with different kind of tiers. It's massive, this hulking hulking space station, which I imagine it must be if it's going to be orbiting a black hole. It definitely got rid of the kind of engine structure on the top left that I was kind of making a joke about. And the bottom side definitely looks like it's been ruined. Looks a little foreign to me, like it's a different object, but maybe, you know, the fabric of space-time and the intersection of dimensions has caused a little bit of trouble here. But does this fit the description that we're looking for? Does it look like there's any indication of this orbiting a black hole? I'm not getting the black hole vibe. So we might have to try a couple of other prompts in order to get what we're looking for. So this is kind of what I was thinking, right? With earlier when I said that trying to generate art through these tools to match a pre-existing idea, to me, through my experiences and now seeing kind of these results, it does seem to be a bit more of a challenge when you're trying to match AI generated art to a existing idea, right? And this is, I think, also one of the big differences with AI art, where you're really in a sense rolling the dice, right, to see what kind of image result you get. Hopefully you get something that you like, and then you kind of try to fine tune it. You could also go the route of referencing external or existing imagery to try to more closely get the type of output that matches a existing reference. But this is again where a proper, say, concept artist would come into play to say, hey, this is the type of space station I'm looking for, but we're missing that vibe of this black hole. A concept artist that handles this type of work in this type of style, for example, would be able to, you know, give you a quick sketch or a quick concept of that to ensure that, you know, you get the type of output you're looking for. So yeah, I'm still firmly of the mind that AI is a tool in that regard, right? In the sense that a proper, again, artist or concept artist or whatnot is going to really be able to get the results you're looking for. But say, for example, that again, maybe you're not entirely sure, hey, what is this space station even going to look like? There is ways, especially with these types of tools coming out, where you can just go in and explore and say, hey, I'm going to generate 100 images, and maybe you'll find something that can be given to said artist to then flesh out, right? Did I upscale this one yet? No, I have not. Let's try number 2 up here on the top right. This is the one that I feel gives us the best look of any sort of vibe that there is a black hole. So maybe let's try variations of number 2 here. Yeah, just coming back to the previous prompts to see if there's anything that we can see. Number 3 here also is a little interesting now that I look at it. Maybe if it's given some variation, we'll be able to see a bit more clarity towards the prompts that we had given it. So maybe we'll also get some variations of number 3 here. We'll see what the AI does with that. Yeah, I think let's take a look and see what those outputs look like, and then we'll go from there. If it ever turns out that I'm scrolling a little too quickly for you guys, do let me know. Well, we can slow down, absolutely. All right, let's see here. We're getting close to the bottom here. Let's see. Was this new outputs? I forget. Yeah, it says new. Let's see. Black hole. I really want that black hole feeling in the distance, at least. Something about the background kind of twisting and turning, I think, would be a good place to start. Although, ooh, these might not be half bad. It definitely gives us a sense of, you know, with that dark center, that hey, there's something going on here. We definitely see the space station in ruin. the nature of it being kind of stretched out, like something has intersected with it, or some kind of parallel, maybe dimension has sliced through it, right? This could actually be a play on the third and fourth dimensions, for example, right? If anyone knows anything about how we perceive the third dimension and how we can only perceive a slice of the fourth dimension, right? Yeah, you know what? This might actually be a bit more appropriate. There's a bit of intrigue with the way it's kind of split. Yeah, you guys see what I'm talking about here? Now, number 2 at the top right looks like it has a planet in the background, which I don't think we care for. The top left, however, the first one, might be a good one to see what kind of, maybe even the bottom right one also. No, but the bottom right one also has this planet in the background, which I feel if there's this massive black hole, a planet that close would probably have some issues, unless the black hole's like way out in the distance, perhaps. Okay, let's see some variations for number 1. Go from there. Now, in one of these future episodes, I do think there will be an episode where maybe we, after doing a couple of these and trying out some different concepts, we'll take a look at, okay, well, we've tried it with prompts. How does it now work with, say, leveraging a existing reference? And what I'm thinking, and I've kind of played with it a little bit, we'll talk about that maybe at the end, is I've used myself as a reference, right? So we have our own kind of original character concept as Dregn Durant, and we have the rights to use it. So I will offer myself as tribute for the greater good of learning about these tools and trying things out. I really vibe with this. This actually looks quite cool to me. There's definitely some. This could almost feels like the center of it, like a portal to another world might open up. These are definitely interesting. The bottom left one I don't like because it looks like there's too much of a horizontal like a plane being shown in the center there, but the top right one, number 2, that one looks pretty good. Yeah, there's like a star in the background or something going on. I like the little red effects that we see on the station, which I'm sure if we upscale that, we'll see a little bit more like damage or maybe even fires. The bottom right is as interesting as the alternative kind of shape is, especially on the top left of the station with whatever that hood is supposed to be. Although I think the first one on the top left has the best wreckage. Although, is it a wreckage, or does it look like it collided with something again? Like, it almost looks like actually like a big space station just intersected with it in the center. Somebody punched a donut hole out of the center. But you know, let's upscale that second one. I'm kind of vibing with that second one here, with the kind of star in the middle. Also, didn't I upscale one earlier? Where did that one go? This one here. So yeah, this one definitely has kind of a dark, silent vibe, is I think how I would describe it. Definitely looks like it was abandoned, right? I think the abandoned vibe is here. But again, this one is missing that kind of sense of something interdimensional, or the fabric of space has kind of shifted in comparison to the description that we had generated previously. All right, waiting to start. With any luck, it's gonna finish here pretty quickly. And looks like, man, we've already an hour has passed, so we're coming up on the time. So maybe this one will be what we move forward with. Of course, now that we're looking at the last one, it's taken a while. Tell you what, as soon as I alt tab, I know it's going to be like, oh, we're done. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking there's some potential with this one. Top right. Definitely has a bit of an abandoned look to it. The coloring definitely gives us a bit more of a vibe that there's maybe a potential of a black hole nearby. But we'll see what it looks like once it finishes upscaling. Although now that I look a little closer, the bottom half does look as though it's floating above a landmass, which might be a bit off-putting. Perhaps the first one would have been more interesting. I just noticed the third one looks like it has something behind it too. You see that little red on the bottom half of it? Oh yeah, look at that, dude. Of course, now that we're waiting for the last one, it's not going to be done quick. Come on. Well, but yeah, this is definitely a different experience than generating the character. I think from what we had done yesterday and what we're looking at today, the character creation side of things was a little more straightforward. Definitely seemed a bit easier to grasp, like a character rather than a location. So yeah, maybe when we do another episode today, we'll have to try maybe another location type. Maybe not one that's in space. Maybe we'll try like a location on the ground level or something. You know what? It is taking a little while. It might change as soon as I swap over. But I think we'll take a quick pause here while we're waiting for that to finish. And swap back to... Sometimes I have to actually open up the capture to get to where I want to go. So looking at my gallery here, so I've been playing with it a little bit just to see what it's capable of with shapes and objects and kind of different blending of maybe like known IPs. And you might notice a couple generation of space men as I play around with it. Here is our character from yesterday and some of the objects that we had looked at when we were playing with it on our first stream of the year. But yeah, as you can see, I've had more success generating characters I feel that were interesting. We also took some time, and I actually used myself as a brief reference just to see, okay, if I give it an image, what happens? So we'll maybe take a closer look at that. I am fascinated by the fact that it created this one here, which looks like a fascinating 3D, like painted miniature almost, which is quite cool. There's also a particular character in our Sunday campaign who is a scout marksman that somebody I know enjoys making Hero Forge models. So I tried using that as a reference to see, okay, well, what is it? How does it handle like a Hero Forge model? For those who are unfamiliar with the term Hero Forge, you can kind of create your own 3D miniature. A lot of people use it for, say, like D&D characters, right? So using a Hero Forge model, it was able to generate something like this. So that's an idea that I might like to explore in one of these episodes as well. Interesting result, right? Yeah, you should have seen some of the variations. This was, in my opinion, the best of the bunch, but I didn't really try to fine tune it at all either. Also, just to get an idea of how the AI works, I did try to create a couple of locations just to test, but again, didn't really go into it super deep. And then creating objects. Oh man, I cannot wait to try an episode where we look at creating an object, because creating objects has been interesting. Really interesting. Like some objects, like this bottle here, came out looking real fascinating on like the first try. Whereas something like this one here, where I was trying to create a, I think it was like a syringe, like a MediPen kind of an object. I think it took the pen aspect of it a little too literally. So yeah, an episode where we take a look at objects is going to definitely be a bit more interesting. I'm also quite fascinated by, obviously the hand is atrocious, but I'm surprised how detailed the muscles on the body are, because I feel like I have seen some kind of practice art from folks doing like really in-depth kind of muscle formations on a person, and this captures that vibe. Obviously there's some nuances here that are a bit curious. Like, I'm not really sure if the pecs where the collarbone is supposed to be so recessed, or not recessed, but like the pecs are, what's the term, it's like it's popping out pretty crazy, and it seems like there's a big 90-degree angle between the collarbone and like the throat itself, right? But yeah, the hand is just a monstrosity. And then we also have this guy here, which what was the keywords I used for this guy? Death Corpse Warhammer 40k anime style. You guys think it made that properly? Maybe there's a bit of like an Inquisitor vibe thing going on here, but yeah, this was a pretty interesting result that it came out with. But it does appear that our image has completed, so let's go back and take a look at what that looks like. Interesting. So as much as I, again, don't care too much for the bottom portion where it looks like it is floating on an object rather than being in the midst of space, I do think the station itself is a pretty good starting point as like a vibe check or a reference piece, right? The space in the background definitely gives us some good starting point for the vibe of space. And the hole in the center definitely gives a bit of that intrigue. And I think that spear of light gives a little bit of an intrigue when it comes to, hey, what is that? Is that a distortion in the space-time? Or is that just the bending of the light due to maybe a black hole far in the distance? I'm not really sure what I would describe that as, but maybe this is the image that we'll go with. It's definitely got some good lighting to it, but most definitely the bottom object that it generated is not quite giving us the right look, right? We definitely wanted the space station to be more floating in the midst of space. So you know what? Because we want it to be in the midst of space, maybe we will try upscaling that first one to see how it tweaks it. So yeah, but this is what I'm thinking when it comes to the AI generation of the backstories and the text. I definitely do find that ChatGPT is definitely a good way to brainstorm and come up with some creative ideas. It is definitely a way that I think with people who may be encountering, say, like writer's block, where they have just a very simple concept. They have a few keywords or a simple sentence or two of like what it is that they're thinking about. You could definitely go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, this is the idea I'm looking for. Can you expand on it? Or maybe I'm interested in creating a story that's using these types of keywords, and it can help expand or build a starting point, right? So there's definitely some potential there when it comes to, say, building out the lore or the backstory for a location. As you saw, we leveraged it more for also then generating a brief kind of descriptor of the space as well, or the place as well. And then with MidJourney in particular, because of the kind of text to image nature of it, yeah, unless we had, say, a base image to kind of build off of, it definitely is a little tricky and a little hit or miss. Although I am pretty interested in the consistency, because if you've noticed from the previous, basically all of our results here have given us a bit of this kind of donut shape, right, for the space station. So it really did take this kind of cylindrical space station idea here, and it does appear that it's been consistent with that. I'm surprised actually that none of these images closed the center. It actually kept it all donut. So yeah, I mean, cylindrical doesn't necessarily mean it's a hollow cylinder, right? So it's curious what it's referencing or why it's creating this kind of donut shape in pretty much every single one. Yeah, every single one is definitely has I guess this one here, the top left, might be the closest one that doesn't have that, but I mean, considering what is that, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, so 11 total, but we also kind of did variations for like 3 or 4 of them, so we'll say it's like 7 or so results times 4, right? So what is that? We're looking at about 28 plus, or I guess excluding that very first one at the very top. So like that's impressive that there's some degree of consistency going on based on your keywords. Oh, looks like we got some opinions here. Let's see. Picture an encounter aboard a high-speed monorail that goes around the station. Ooh, that's, yeah. Because if it's this huge hulking space station, right, you would need some way to kind of get around it a bit quicker than just floating into this donut that is, what is it? Was the International Space Station has like a donut, right, for the gravity and all? But yeah, high-speed monorail goes around the station, maybe an industrial one not made for conveying passengers. Ooh, so it could be like pretty open. Maybe there's a tunnel, yeah, open to the tunnel that it runs through. Perhaps an encounter that terminates in a heavily damaged section of the station that leads to derailing. Oh, that's an idea too. Yeah, no, you can start getting into, right? I think that's really one of the big benefits of AI is that, like, just look at what you typed already, and I guess listen to me rambling. AI, either text or visual, could be that final crank of the lawnmower to get it, finally running, right? I definitely find that there's a lot of inspirational benefit that can come out of these tools. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait for this last one to finish here. I should, during these streams, I should change it from relaxed to fast. I have enough. It definitely has to do with the fact that it came. Oh wait, sorry. Did I miss a sentence? Oh no. It definitely has to do with the fact that it came up with these shapes with a hole in the center like that. Yeah, right. So are you thinking that? Yeah, no, yeah. I guess. Yeah, the hole in the center. Although the hole in the center definitely... Oh, it finished. Nice. You know what? This might be... This might have some potential. Yeah, definitely has the space. No, you know what? The center, though. The center definitely looks like it's a different layer or something. Something is going on in the center there that is kind of reaching towards us, right? I don't know. What do you think about this one? I mean, I suppose this looks like a poster almost. But I definitely do feel like that center plane, that center flat section is kind of off-putting to the vibe of the space station in ruin. Without that opening, I might not have considered the idea of a rail going around the circumference. Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. Hell, I'm so used to the concept of like the space stations that we have today, right? And in a lot of the, I guess, sci-fi that we've seen depicted, you don't really see too many of these massive hulking donut shapes. I think the closest thing to these types of cylindrical donut shapes that I might recall is something from like Gundam, the colonies in Gundam, but those are more like long cylindrical, like, yeah, they're more cylindrical, not donuts, because, and those are rotating, and the people inside live along the outer the inside outer edges of that cylinder, right? The inner walls, I guess, is the better way to put it. But yeah, I'm trying to think what other sci-fi really kind of shows just a big donut space station that might be rotating. This final result looks cool, but I feel like that bit looks like a platform or plane of some sort under the center. Yeah, exactly. I do think that it maybe blended something or generated something here that it's a bit out of place for what we're trying to describe here. So gosh, I really don't like the perspective of the bottom. Maybe at a glance a person might not notice it, but for the intent of our little project here, it definitely, now that I've noticed it, I can't unsee it. So maybe we'll try one more. Yeah, we have a little bit more time here. Maybe we'll go with one of these. Now, these I feel like have the risk of that center image, that center piece. You know, maybe we'll try one of these. But again, that center looks like it has a trash heap in it, which I don't think is quite the vibe we're looking for. We definitely want that kind of... Oh, you know what? Maybe that first one, right? It has that little line in the center that kind of gives me that black hole vibe. Let's do that. Let's try this one here and see how it cleans up that image. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this center, like maybe I didn't put spacecraft in it, right? Abandoned cylindrical space station orbiting a black hole. Yeah, the orbiting the black hole part seems to have been completely lost by the AI here. I figured as much. I mean, trying to ask the AI to do a space station, but also the black hole seems like a bit of a stretch to me. This again is where the kind of fine tuning of a description to art could be better handled by a proper artist. Hulking structure surrounded by debris. See, I'm thinking that the debris and wreckage must be part of why it's causing that. Swirling vortex. Yeah, I can't imagine it being the swirling vortex of light. Warped fabric of space-time. I don't think that's really what's causing this, but it really didn't give us a whole lot of warped space-time either, unless that's why it added. Maybe it's supposed to be some sort of, they've intersected in space-time. So maybe that's part of the problem. Yeah, because it is included in all of these, I think. Yeah, it's included there. We've got it here. We've got it right here. Okay, so let's maybe try another prompt as well while we're waiting for that last one to finish. We'll try abandoned cylindrical space station orbiting black hole. Maybe we'll keep that in the same sentence this time. Hulking structure surrounded by debris wreckage, swirling cosmic energies. You know, let's just get rid of the additional distraction kind of prompts here. We don't need descriptors. We just want, yeah, maybe we'll try to keep it as simple as possible to get the main vibe we're looking for, right? Which is a space station orbiting the black hole. It's a hulking structure. We want the debris and wreckage, and then we want this kind of grim and foreboding sight. So let's try it with that. And you know what? Just because, let me actually swap it back to fast mode just so we get things done a little quicker here. Done. Exhaust. Once you exhaust. Okay, yeah, I should be fine. All right, let's try that. Because we're running in fast mode, this should finish much quicker than what we're stuck waiting for. But we are limited in the number of hours that we can generate. I believe it's per month. I'll double check it another time. Also, looks like the top one has started. It's also fascinating if you ever have a chance to kind of pay attention to how it's generating these. Because I know some AI art will actually take like a reference and kind of generate it based on the combination of references, whereas I want to say MidJourney actually takes, there's some like statistical scattering or plotting based on, I guess, popular expected results or something like that. Really curious how they do it. I really do wish that MidJourney has a bit more of like a white paper or some sort of insight into how their tool actually works, but allegedly it's all proprietary is what I'm hearing. So it's a little sketchy about the lack of transparency there. I feel like a lot of businesses moving forward really need to start embracing a degree of transparency, because there's definitely a lot of people who are beginning to lose trust in marketing, or at least maybe that's just me. All right, so this is already, ooh, that's actually not too shabby. But let's look at our fast prompt here. Okay, so for some reason in the center, it's gone ahead and again just completely changed what's going on in the middle. Although this fourth one, this bottom right one, I kind of really like that. It kind of looks like there's a space station, but the center, like, oh, what the hell? There's like a completely different world in the middle. Should it be like that? But no, it doesn't really give you the dark and foreboding vibe. It really gives more intrigue, I think. So unfortunately, I don't think that's quite gonna work for us. And then these other images definitely just kind of go off in all sorts of weird directions. So that's unfortunate. But this one is fascinating. We definitely see like the bending of reality through the center versus how it's depicted in the background. Again, why does the center get changed like that? Also, it's doing this thing again where at the bottom there is like trash. Like it looks like a dumpster. And is that a person? I can't quite tell if that's a person. But yeah, the surrounding little, like, I don't know, not really sure why it added a bunch of little spheres and circles, but the whole like splicing of the station as it's like bending outwards or something is pretty interesting. But yeah, as you guys can see, definitely trying to generate an image based on an existing idea, way more difficult. Let's we are in fast mode, so we'll do one more, and then I'm gonna have to throw in the towel and say that AI might be, we might have to try the reverse order in a later episode here. So let's try, oh, come on. We'll try, what would be a very simple descriptor that we can do here? We can do large abandoned, I missed the word. No, I didn't. Abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. Let's try just doing that. Large abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. We didn't add the cylindrical part, so we're probably not going to be getting the same shape this time. But just as a bit of a thought experiment, right? If we try to just go with a space station and then maybe later we can think about our own creative ideas. Although trying to generate text based off an image is not something that ChatGPT can do. So this reverse order might be something where we have to, although wait a minute, it still made it donut shape. Why did it do that? Huh, interesting, very interesting. Although this fourth one, I kind of like that fourth one, so let's take a look at that in an upscaled version here. The center just completely bending reality is what I get from this. It's dark. We actually have a bit of these kind of lights that maybe kind of describe much of what we were getting from the prompt earlier, right? Because these other ones are definitely a bit too colorful. You know, I lied. I want to do one more. You can see how this is a bit of a rabbit hole just to experiment with and see what it can do. I've actually watched quite a few hours of different artists that are specifically exploring AI, and some of them have very interesting positive reactions, some of them have very negative reactions. I think overall, the conclusions that I have come to, getting the opinion of AI, or sorry, not AI, getting the opinion of artists who are content creators who have already made statements about their thoughts on AI. It has less to do with the tool and what the tool is capable of. It has more to do with the tools that infringe on potential copyright and intellectual property and identity theft, right? It seems like that is the underlying argument about some of these AI-based tools. Now, I believe I think it was Vector during our little podcast session yesterday who was telling me that there was some controversy about MidJourney, but I haven't actually been able to find it. It was all Stable Diffusion seems to be the big culprit, but I'd have to double check what MidJourney is sourcing from, if it's using one of those large data repositories like Stable Diffusion or DALL-E. I think DALL-E was guilty of it too. These are all other AI art generation tools that are making their way. What is going on here? This is interesting. It's definitely looks like a seabed almost, but But I did say we were going to do one more because I want to see. All right, let me actually take the abandoned. We're gonna downscale this even further. Let's see here what we can do. Duration. What the hell is duration? Oh, timeout. What? No. All right, abandoned. Yeah, let's get rid of cylindrical. Let's just see what happens when we say space station. Because we could always remove cylindrical from the ChatGPT text as well. But abandoned space station orbiting a black hole. Hulking structure. Hulking. Let's go with hulking abandoned. Maybe the structure. Maybe structure is the keyword that's causing it to intersect with like a building. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, maybe structure is the wrong keyword here. Let's say hulking abandoned. Actually, it's the other way around, right? Abandoned hulking space station orbiting a black hole surrounded. We'll get rid of that comma as well. Surrounded by debris and wreckage. Grim and foreboding. Let's get rid of sight. It should know just grim and foreboding are vibes that we wanted to check with, right? So let's try that. And you know what? I also don't actually know if adding version 4 here matters, but let's try one. Oops. Let's do one more with that as well. Can I edit this from here? No. I forget how Discord works. Oh, I forgot to add the V4 again. V4. All right, I lied. We're doing several. Oh, this one's still work in progress. It's done. So much faster. All right, so the top left, number 1, does look like it's a lot of these look like they're crashing into something. Why is it doing that? Why is it doing this? Like, it's not in space. Abandoned hulking space station orbiting black hole surrounded by debris and wreckage. Yeah, I don't know why it's adding. You know what it probably is doing? Maybe typical space station artwork, quote unquote, that it's learned from, again, quote unquote, however the hell how it's handling this, because I haven't been able to find out too many details about it. Maybe it's imagining that there's a planet, but because we didn't specify planet, it's filling up, it's converting the planet to like to debris and wreckage is kind of the vibe that I'm getting out of this. Right? So top right is interesting. It still did kind of this donut vibe. Top right maybe has some potential, but I do feel like this is gonna generate into something a bit less ideal. Let's see here. We got 2 more, right? Oh, this is interesting. But does that look like a space station? I'm not really sure. I feel like the previous results definitely gave us a bit more of a space station vibe. And this top right one doesn't even have a background, really. The first one, though, that looks a little cinematic, doesn't it? Maybe we'll try some variations of that at some point here. But the final result here, yeah, once again, you know what? I think it's the debris and wreckage is causing it to have all sorts of extra unnecessary stuff around it. So, man, I keep telling myself one more. All right, so let's get rid of surrounded by abandoned space station. Abandoned space station orbiting a black hole, grim and foreboding. Let's just do that. Maybe I need to say abandoned space station orbiting a black hole in space, even though we already have space station in there. Not really sure what the proper prompt is. I've also seen a couple of quote unquote creators on YouTube. I think I don't know if they're necessarily artists, that talk more about how to generate prompts. A lot of them seem to enjoy putting like ultra high res, or they like to use certain keywords that give it a realistic vibe. Some of them have even said, what is it? I think they put like Blender in there. The tool Blender is, I think, the keyword that they're looking for. But yeah, almost every single one seems to be creating these like donut space stations. I expected at least a couple of these to have been more of a kind of blocky look, or a like one that is there's like a central column and then there's like different compartments, like it's a modular space station, right? But yeah, interesting how so many of these, like I've removed cylinder from the prompt and it's still doing it. So here's a concern that I have with these kind of art AI, or any AI in general, right? Like, again, I voiced it the other day that AI has been available and has been around in the tech and security world for years now, right? Obviously, no one ever noticed because it's not a visual thing like AI art is, and it doesn't directly affect, small creators and students, much like, well, I guess the perspective with AI and how to leverage AI and how AI is used in the security and tech world is a lot different than how artists and creatives would be impacted by AI, right? So one trend, I guess I should say, that I've noticed with AI is that the longer the AI is learning, the more constrained, I suppose, the results end up becoming. So I am a little concerned the fact that we're already seeing just this commonality, regardless of whether cylinder is in our prompt or not. Like, all of these prompts are giving us cylindrical space stations. I do wonder if AI will eventually you have to hit like that reset button to give it that, because there's like a sweet spot I've noticed with AI. Like, at the beginning it's learning and it's kind of rough, and only the people who are really like excited to play with it really dive into it. And then somewhere in the middle, or somewhere maybe like 2/3 of the way in of its life cycle, is where that kind of golden sweet spot time is. And then around the time the product would end, which I guess that's seen in hindsight, but we do also start seeing that kind of looping effect that I was talking about with like the text generators. What up, Soul? We're getting close to wrapping up. I've already pushed it longer than I had planned, just because we're not quite getting the result we're looking for, but I feel like we're getting closer, right? We're trying to explore it. So, hey, good morning, free range. We're looking at AI out here. Definitely a very interesting topic, but like I was saying, right, with AI, with AI in the kind of prompt response format, which text to image, text to text like ChatGPT, I do feel like there is the risk of the AI eventually becoming less effective and less creative. So yeah, it is a question of, is AI really going to be consistent in its quote unquote creativity, or is it going to eventually reach a point where it's learned so much about what the average quote unquote human desired result is, where it just starts looping results, right? You just start getting kind of the same boring, similar imagery over and over and over, which I do feel like that potential exists here. So we'll have to see in the next, within this year. I believe within this year, we will find out if tools like MidJourney are going to fall prey to very similar trends that I've noticed with AI. So I do be lurking, was drawing and added the first 10 images for art for the soul. Hell yeah, let's go. So on the Bluebird, You actually got the tag up. Art for the soul. You got to say it properly, man. It is art for the soul. Right? Just like that. Is that the tag that I should be looking for? Very cool, though. All right. Well, I think I'm going to upscale. Oh, you know what? This bottom left one kind of has a black hole in the distance. But again, it's doing that thing at the bottom where it's like adding like a ground to it. I don't know. But these, I think this might be the best results we've had. I think that second one, the top right one, looks pretty dang fascinating. Nice. What are you on there? MidJourney. Have you checked out DALL-E? I have looked at DALL-E. I don't think I'm going to mess with DALL-E just because from what I could tell, although MidJourney is lacking in a certain degree of transparency with where it's sourcing its technology and logic, if it's proprietary, then maybe they're doing something a bit more unique. And I've tried pretty hard to actually here we'll take a quick look at it here. We'll detour. We're wrapping up here pretty soon. But I've done some tests here to try to really duplicate some pre-existing works, right? So like characters like SpongeBob, like it knows the characters clearly. It knows popular brands like Disney. But I've tried, like Sam Draws, right? I know there was a lot of controversy recently with Sam Draws. So I was like, Sam did a YouTube video, which was really good. And Sam Yang is the artist, but you guys should check him out. He's really big. I've met the guy at Anime Expo years ago. He's a good guy. But I've noticed that MidJourney, unless you give it I haven't tried it with a direct reference because I'm not about to go steal somebody's art that I don't have permission from because I'm good like that. But MidJourney doesn't actually seem to be able to steal, quote unquote, his style, quote unquote, right? There's the whole debate of whether styles can be stolen, obviously, but I haven't noticed it being really accurate with like even Picasso, right? Like this is not Picasso. Maybe it's the person Picasso. I'm not really sure if Picasso looks like that. But MidJourney seems to have a degree of its own kind of style of output depending on the prompts you give it. But from what I could tell, the source of DALL-E is a huge ass database that has taken imagery that people never consented to. So I don't really know if I want to play with DALL-E in particular. Also, DALL-E, from what I understand, or from what I've initially just kind of dabbled with, doesn't seem to be as I don't want to say it. Like some AI generated art kind of borrows or steals particular styles, right? I've noticed this with Wombo Dream, how they categorize particular styles. But MidJourney seems fairly unique from what I've played with. So I think I'm going to stick with MidJourney just for that aspect alone. The fact that I've tried reverse image searching a lot of some of the outputs that I thought were very clever and interesting. And it's been difficult to try to find sources of where some of these might be coming from. I actually haven't been able to find a single one yet. So, anyone tuning in, I encourage you guys, if you see something that looks like it's been taken from somewhere, I want to know about it because, well, one, we want to make sure that we're being as ethical as possible when we explore these tools because the creative world is definitely at ends with it versus where the technical world is not, right? So we want to strike a good balance because we are kind of in the middle of the communities from our background versus kind of where we are today as a streaming VTuber, right? But yeah, DALL-E, what is it? OpenAI, right, is the parent of DALL-E. OpenAI also technically, or not even technically, OpenAI is also the parent of ChatGPT. So yeah, OpenAI is a bit sketchy, and actually I think the CEO and founder actually had an interview with, gosh, who was it? I forget who. It was one of those mainstream media outlets. I forget who, but I forget if his role was CEO or founder, but he actually explicitly said in the interview, it's like, yeah, no, we didn't ask for permission from any of these people to use their artwork as part of our learning program. So it's like, well, shit, if this goes to court, you kind of just admitted to potential identity theft in the form of stealing the personification of a person's career and identity of their art, right? So it's a very interesting conversation and topic that I'm very excited to jump into and explore here. So hopefully I'm doing it the right way, but it is something that I do believe AI art is going to be a recurring trend, and we are going to continue to see it. It's going to continue to grow and evolve, and I don't know. I definitely want to be on the forefront of it rather than chasing it 4 years after it's too late, for example, right? But yeah, let me catch up here. That is the tag. Yeah. Apparently it was used before in 2012. Oh, really? But in 2012, I mean, that's 10 years ago. So it's past their free, what's the term? I think 10 years is the limit before someone can claim something. So yeah, it's all yours now. Use it, take it. It's yours. But yeah, this one in particular is MidJourney. I also find it fascinating that the people behind MidJourney has integrated with Discord. Discord, I think, is a very underrated or I don't want to say it's underutilized, but I feel like Discord is a tool that has gone under the radar. But if you look into Discord as an organization, they are actually multi-million-dollar funded. Like they have capital funding or investment. I forget what the terminology is for all the funding financial crap, because that's not something gives me a headache. But yeah, Discord is actually massive. And the fact that MidJourney is like, you know what, we're going to use Discord as our front end interface, essentially. I mean, they have a web interface, which if I switch over back to, why is my window capture not working properly? But yeah, if I switch back here, right, MidJourney does have its own kind of interface and home and a place where you can view kind of what you've been generating. Man, look at all this stuff. It's just all space stations from today. But yeah, MidJourney does have its own interface and login and website, but the usage and the interaction with the AI is all handled through Discord integration, which I think is a really, really fascinating and cool idea that I've had for a while, that because we've seen certain businesses actually start using Discord as like an educational platform, and they have like videos of educational programs and what is it, like series that are included on Discord. And in order to gain access to Discord, you have to like sign up and join that community that way through that monetized model, right? Oh no, a ton of big organizations are starting to use Discord too. Like a bunch of organizations used to use Slack, right? A bunch of them still do, but Discord started in the gaming community because the founders were gamers, and the story is that, you know, a lot of the previous tools, which I'm blanking on at the moment. Wow, I'm really blanking on the old VoIP tools, but yeah, they were dissatisfied with the old VoIP tools that were kind of none of them really, they all served a purpose, but none of them really were mainstream. And Discord came in and kind of just swept the entire gaming world and became super common in the gaming world for people to get together and for communities to get together. And I think business is starting to catch on to Discord as a potential replacement for Slack, as a replacement for Skype, and all sorts of others. So yeah, Discord is a really good tool. If you haven't figured it out, or if you haven't really played with Discord, I'd encourage it, because I'm a big fan of Discord. Although part of them is owned by Tencent, which worries me a little bit. I think last time I checked, it was like 10 or 15%, but so it's not as bad as some other organizations, but you know how it is. Bill Gates is a big funder of OpenAI. There's that other term you were looking into may have been public domain after copyright. Yeah, that might be what it is, but I don't think Twitter really does that kind of stuff. Well, actually, if you didn't know, even Elon Musk is, I believe, a big funder of OpenAI, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I've tried to do a little bit of research here, but as we continue the Exploring AI series that we're looking into, we'll obviously be learning more. And I encourage anyone out there tuning in to, drop your thoughts, drop your comments. Is there maybe a creator that's explored it I should go check out? I have quite a few hours of video that I've consumed of people using open source, or not even open source, of AI tools, and also the people who are impacted by these tools and their opinions about it and their conversations and podcasts about it. So it's I came from technology and business and security, and AI was commonplace. I mean, AI based machine learning in the security sector was becoming so common by the time I left that it was interesting, right? And especially in the tech sector, if you're in the tech sector for long enough, especially out here in good old California, you're going to bump into the big guys like Amazon and Google, who all have cloud services, and they're all using machine learning, right? Machine learning, AI, they're practically, what's the term? Peas in a pod, right? So yeah, AI is not new to me, but obviously with artists and musicians and creators, it's now impacting them directly. So now they're speaking up about it, right? It is kind of what we're seeing. But yeah, people need to also realize that AI's, again, been around for almost half a decade at least now. So it's been around. It's been there. But yeah. Really like how MidJourney is in Discord. Yeah, a lot of people like the sound of it. Art tag. Yeah, I mean, you ran that poll also when it came to your Art of Soul tag. So, or Art for the Soul. It's funny because that one was the last one I came up with. Well, apparently it works. Get out of here. I'm late today. The biggest funder of AI is in the US, and China's government. The user interactive stuff is just the tip. Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. The user interactive stuff is really just the front end of all this technology. I mean, behind the scenes, there's even like the ethical question marks about, hey, there are what's the term I'm looking for? A lot of the AI databases, or a lot of the AI machine learning databases, AI learning databases, right? All this data mining that is being done behind the scenes under the guise of quote unquote these research organizations, right? And then the front end obviously is a quote unquote nonprofit, and it's for research. There's some questionable loopholes that I've seen, but we also saw that with Tesla, right? Tesla did there were no regulations around electric vehicles and the charging stations. We also saw that in like San Francisco and San Diego with those scooters, right? There was no regulations around putting those scooters all over the place, putting those bicycle stations all over the place. And it wasn't until they showed up everywhere and the residents of those locations started noticing that the local governing bodies started to really start looking into regulating where they had to be, the safety requirements around them. So again, I'm going to stand by my position that the best way to get a degree of change that you're looking for when it comes to these AI tools and the questionable nature of some of these organizations behind them is to bring awareness to it and explore it and make our opinions known. So we're going to continue the Exploring AI series here on the channel. And yeah, we're coming up to 2 hours now, so we're definitely going to be wrapping up this stream at some later time. Maybe, what is it? It's 11 my time, so I'd say in about 2 more hours. Yeah, so about 1 p.m. Pacific, which is, brain farting, 4 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to come back for another episode. We'll do episode 3, and I think we'll continue with the idea of exploring more landscape, points of interest, scenery, right? And maybe this time instead of sci-fi, we'll try to go with like a metropolis or something like that. And maybe we'll start from an image and then we'll go into ChatGPT to try to generate some backstory for the said location. So stay tuned for that. If it is going to happen, you guys will see an announcement on the YouTube go up about an hour, we'll say 30 minutes to an hour before that time. And then obviously if you are on the Twitter and you're following me, you will see the announcement there as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's go ahead and go full screen here. Let me go ahead and mute this audio. And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys have been enjoying the conversation and exploring these tools. I look forward to doing more of it, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts about it. So Whether you're an advocate or whether you are against it, be civil. Let's have that conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and drop a comment below. With that, push the goddamn button, and I'll catch you next time. Or I guess later today. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.